Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Wise. I'm a life and relationship coach, and I help people with relationship and family problems using the deep well of Murray Bowen family systems theory. This is a new podcast and video on the topic dealing with adult children who are narcissists. I think there are a lot of folks who have this struggle that I don't think you can find a lot of information out there for them. There are a lot of books on growing up in a family in which a parent was a narcissist, but not much information is on online even, or even in books about what if you're the parents and you have a child who's a narcissist and you want to have a better relationship with them and also with their children. You can view this on my podcasts, on my YouTube channel, and my podcasts on Spotify and other streaming services on my website. You can view this for free on all of those streaming services. I want to thank you for joining me. I work with adult children of narcissists, adult children of alcoholics, and other folks as well, family problems, family owned business problems. And I've been helping people with healing and recovery for over 40 years now. And today I want to talk about again, little discussed problem that a lot of people have a hard time finding information about. And I'd like to talk about the Jones family as an example. Patty and Bill and their daughter Nancy. And Nancy is a narcissist. At least she fits all the categories of narcissism and how she relates with the rest of her family, and particularly how she relates with her parents. The Jones family, Patty and Bill, have come to me to try to help with that dynamic and how they can improve their relationship with their daughter. A lot of people would say, well, if she's narcissistic, just let it go. Well, it's not easy to let go a child or grandchildren. And so I think if there's some help we can provide, then I want to do that. And I think there is some help that can be provided. Children who have narcissistic traits or children who are narcissists can vary widely in how they interact with their families. And so I think there are some things we can do to improve that relationship. Nancy, who is the daughter, she's married, has a couple children. She's moody, self-centered, no empathy, or very little. She goes in and out of empathy moods. She distorts what's happened presently and in the past. She requires everyone to make amends to her, particularly her parents. They will do that, and then it changes when now that amends is all blown out of the water, and that asking for forgiveness and all those things. Patty and Bill were not perfect parents. They had their own problems while they were raising children. But they certainly weren't trying to be bad parents, but they had their own problems, and that, I'm sure, contributed to Nancy's illness and problem that she has. And but there's not always a straight line from parents to narcissistic child as the cause, and we need to be careful about that because not all narcissistic children are raised by narcissists. And I've read that, heard that out there. I don't think that is fully true. There are many who parent badly, who are abusive, who cause all kinds of dependency with their child or neglect them, abuse them, and then we can have more of a narcissistic problem. The relationship with Nancy that they have goes up and down. It can be great for a short time, and then it goes into awful for a while. There have been also over the years cutoffs that happen. Nancy will cut off, and she's not happy with how remorseful mom is about her imperfect parenting when she was growing up. and mom has apologized I don't know how many times and has tried to make amends, even taking responsibility for things that she believes never have even happened. And that happens with narcissists. They will distort reality, and they will also make accusations that are not true. And that's very difficult if you have an accusation made of you and then you're trying to make amends. If you want to just be strategic, you go, okay, well, if that indeed happened, I'm so sorry, or I'm sorry that happened. But then it becomes confirmed, well, you admitted that you did all that. And that's what the narcissist will turn that on that issue. And they will turn and go, see, now you did admit to that. And then it just becomes deeper and deeper and goes into deeper cycles downward. And then there can be a great relationship for a short time with Nancy and the grandkids, and everybody's getting along. Then when Nancy's unhappy, then you can't see the grandkids. You have to have a relationship with me first. You don't get to see the grandkids. So the grandkids get pulled. And then grandkids are confused, grandparents are confused. Also then what happens is also Patty and Bill's other children get involved because they may have shared the problems with Nancy with other siblings. Other siblings have their own relationship with Nancy. There can be where you start having camps and choosing sides, which only makes the situation that's already difficult and anxious very highly charged and very solidified in the camps. And so once you have those kind of family dynamics happening, it can be really difficult and a heartache for parents who would like to see their grandchildren and who also love their daughter and would like to have a better relationship with their daughter. But the daughter just does not allow it to happen for a long period of time. It's not a stable relationship. And oftentimes there can be abusive words, yelling, name calling, and those kinds of things that can make it very painful and difficult. And especially when it's blaming, you weren't good parents, you treated me badly, you did this, you did that. And then the parents may go, well, 25% of that is true, and we're sorry. We're very sorry. We can't fix that. We love you. The parents have also aged out in terms of more maturity and understanding their own past behavior. Parents who have narcissistic children go through a very difficult time. They love their child and love their grandchildren and have a deep ache about not having a calm family life, or that family life that we all kind of dream about. We all get together for the holidays, we all sit around the table, we get along with each other, accept each other. That whole dream that we all hope will happen when our kids grow up. Then there are parents, again, who, because of their own addictions or poor parenting skills, have raised narcissistic children, but are not narcissistic themselves. Addiction and alcoholism is very narcissistic. Addictions are all narcissistic. That doesn't mean it's the personality disorder. That's just the nature of the addiction. And that certainly could have influenced the Nancy in this situation. So she has some genuine complaints. The problem is the complaints never get resolved. And that's one of the difficulties. They never get healed. They're always just recycled and recycled. And that's what I've seen so often with parents who are not getting along with the child, and the child is blaming, accusatory, and very difficult to work with. I think it's, again, it is important that what we want to do is have compassion and empathy for everyone, including Nancy and Bill and Patty, because they're all people, though it can be quite difficult. If Nancy is a perilous or malignant narcissist, then it becomes much more difficult to have a relationship. But that's not so uncommon type of dynamics when you have someone who is an alcoholic son or an addicted daughter, or those kind of dynamics happen as well. They're moody, they tend to be narcissistic, they're blaming. All of the traits and characteristics of the addiction just come into the family dynamics, and it can be very similar. So, what do I do to give advice to parents who have a child who's a narcissist? First of all, find someone, a professional coach, therapist, who believes you. And again, that's one of the problems too. I know many people I've worked with say we've been to 3 or 4 therapists by ourselves, and they don't believe what we're saying. They say, well, it's probably your fault, and that's why your daughter's so mad. And don't go into the dynamics of narcissism, which is a personality disorder, and don't know how to deal with the parents and the child to bring about some possible improvements that could be made in the relationship. Find a professional who understands the dynamics of narcissism and who is aware of narcissistic abuse. Also, I think it's important that that professional knows about family dynamics and family systems understanding, because they can help help you be strategic, so that you don't just keep misstepping with the narcissist, and you don't get caught so many times in a no-win situation. Secondly, I tell them prepare for the long haul. These problems do not respond well to a quick fix. It can take a long time to change the family dynamics. It's like turning a very large ocean liner, because the family dynamics have been ingrained for decades many times. And turning that ship is a slow process of turning that. But I've seen parents turn that ship and have a better relationship with their narcissistic child. It doesn't heal, there's not a cure for narcissism, but I think the relationship can be improved many times. Not always, but many times. Thirdly, I tell them to lead the way on getting help. Just diagnosing and psychologizing your daughter is not going to get you very far. We do want to become aware of narcissistic dynamics, characteristics, and symptoms. Those all can be found online. That's why I wasn't going into that in this video. And you want to lead the family and lead the way to getting help. If you want to change your family system, and again, the narcissist operates within the family system, and your family process, or change how the narcissist operates inside you and inside the family, then work on yourself first. Because again, I read somewhere, we all come from the same egg. We're all in the same egg, much like a family. The family's in us and we are in the family. And that's true for the rest of our lives. How we're in the family can change. But I don't think you ever get past family of origin being in you. But we can get more self-differentiated from it, and more recovery, more healing, more maturity. Same is true if you have a child who's a narcissist. We can always address it in a better, a more adult way. Because many times we've gotten into arguments, we get reactive, the daughter gets reactive, or son who's the narcissist gets reactive, and then it's just, all it is just reactive family dynamics is what we end up with. You can begin to do something about your reactivity, which can change the system. Get help for your intense feelings and emotional upset. You're feeling intense, you're upset, you're grieving, you're sad, you're angry, you may have resentment, frustration, confusion, helplessness, low self-worth. Old wounds are activated from our own family of origin in this situation. Then there's narcissistic abuse trauma that's happened as well, and parental guilt. All of those things will interfere with how well I interact with my daughter or son who may be a narcissist. And that will affect how I interact with them. If we have those, we're going to misstep and trip over those points in our lives. The more clear we are, the more we are self-differentiated, the better and more healthy dynamics we can bring even to a difficult or unhealthy situation, such as having a narcissistic or addicted or alcoholic child. Remember, your family of origin issues affect how you and your child interact now. The more you can do to resolve those, the more you can make this relationship cleaner and more clear. Why do I say these things? Because these are the feelings and the issues that people have presented to me when their parents trying to repair or heal or reconcile with a child who's a narcissist. And so, why is this important? The narcissistic adult child uses all of these things, all of those feelings, all of those wounds as a target to undermine you, your arguments, your requests, and your boundaries. Narcissists can zone in on those very, very easily. So we want to take away the buttons that are going to be pushed or those issues that the narcissist will zero in on. If you have insecurity and parental guilt about raising your children, then the narcissistic child is going to zero in on that. If you had a bad relationship with your parents or your mother or your father, and because they were difficult to deal with, then the child will also say, and you can't even have a relationship with your parents. They'll zero in on anything that is a weakness or an issue for you. So we want to resolve those so we can stand firm in our relationship with them and bring calmness and maturity to the family system. Fourthly, I recommend you may want to use a mediator. Find a helpful and knowledgeable professional, one who understands family systems dynamics and who has a healthy understanding of narcissism and who understands the pain of losing grandchildren to this illness. Because if they're empathetic and understand that, they can help you be more strategic, resolving your issues, and also work with the narcissistic child, which I have done with a number of people, and worked with them as a mediator to build confidence or trust so that there can be a greater sense of cohesion with the parents and the child. Now that's tricky work, so you want to find somebody who feels confident about doing that. But a mediator can be helpful. Fifthly, resist pining and worrying. Often parents will pine away for the lost grandchildren. They also can worry and worry and worry, worrying about the grandchildren being parented by their narcissistic child. And they also pine away. I want to see my grandkids. We had 2 good months that we were together. Now we've had 6 months. We haven't even been able to see them. And we pine away for the grandchildren. Resist that pining and resist that worry. I'm not saying it's not a natural response, but what will happen is it doesn't help anything. It only makes us sad, and it drains energy from us. So we want to work on that pining, and that we have to do some work of letting go while we work towards a possible improvement in the relationship with the child's family, your grandchildren, and their spouse, etc. So we really do want to watch how much we pine away, because that can just, it just eats at you and it just worries you. And I know I've had personal experience in that area of needing to let go so that I could kind of feel normal again. And then at some later point, as I continue to work on being as healthy in my family as I can be, that there might be a restoration or some reconciliation to some degree so that I can see a grandchild or can see the mother of that child. Sixthly, let go of the fantasy of having the family you always dreamed about and always hoped for. That's another painful rumination and obsession that we have. Why can't I have the family that the Smiths have next door? You know, they all get together at holidays. They don't argue all the time. They don't have a month of great time and 4 months of can't see the grandkids and I'm mad at you and you were never the parent you should have been, accusations and all the pain of that. You see other families having a nice gathering for the holidays, and your holidays are filled with tension, loss, grief, hurt, sadness, because now we can't have is not going to come over. We're not going to get together with the grandkids and have a good holiday time. The narcissist has a difficult time setting issues on the shelf. In other words, the issues will stay right here between you and them for the narcissist. Most of us can set those issues on the shelf and have a cordial relationship with our family. Not everybody in my family do I like. Not everybody do I think is a great person. Maybe they don't think I am. And that's okay, but we can set that on a shelf and be cordial with one another and have a family gathering that's relatively drama-free. And we ask so many times, why can't my family be normal? Why can't my child act with empathy and compassion? Why when I've said I'm sorry and made amends 6 different times, it's never good enough. It's not gonna, it doesn't make things better. It may make things better for 10 minutes, and then we go right back into the issues being right here between them and me. I even recommend the use of the 12-step program so that we can learn surrender and peace. And you can go to Codependence Anonymous, and get the 12 steps. Take a look at that, because this is not an easy illness to deal with, just like addiction and alcoholism is not easy, and we need that surrender, we need that peace so that we can go on with our lives while we continue to attempt to make things better with some guidance. There are some good books out there. I might recommend, I think I've got 3 of them. One is Disarming the Narcissist by Wendy Behary, Behary, Disarming the Narcissist. You Can Thrive After Narcissistic Abuse by Melanie Tanya Evans. And the book Don't You Know Who I Am? Chapter 10 talks about the narcissist you raised. So, and there's very little information out there, but chapter 10 talks about raising a narcissist. And it's by Ramani Durvasula, Durvasula. And chapter 10 talks about, again, raising the narcissist. And it's very difficult to find any information on that. So any little information I try to read and find. I must note, sadly, if parents have a child who is perilous or a malignant narcissist, and that's someone whose life is out of control, they're abusive, mean, do illegal acts, threaten you, and those kinds of things, you may need to seek legal counsel and or child protective services, which is always very difficult to do for vulnerable grandchildren. And that's a very difficult thing. I hope you'll follow me in my videos on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, so that you can get every new video that comes out. Also, follow me on my podcast on Spotify and all other streaming apps. You can type in Jerry Wise or Not How, But When. That's the name of the podcast programs. Join my Facebook community. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. On my Facebook, I put up a lot of quotes, a lot of additional information on the Facebook. And you can find me at Jerry Wise Relationship Systems. I also have a workshop coming up this Saturday on May 30th, 2020 for 4 hours. It's the first workshop I've done in a long time. I used to do workshops often. It will be on Zoom, the Zoom app, and I hope you'll sign up on my website. Go to my website with the same name, Jerry Wise Relationship Systems. And there's exclusive content on my website for those who join the bronze, silver, and gold paid plans on the website. You can get exclusive videos and information that's not on YouTube that might help you as well. I want to thank you today for watching. Have a great day and be wise.